You have $1,000 in your trading account. Or maybe it's 500. Or maybe it's one of those small funded evaluations you've been cycling through for months. You sit down at your desk, you find a setup that actually looks decent, and you pull out your position size calculator. You realize that to follow proper risk management, risking just 1%, you should only be risking $10 on this trade. And you scoff. You feel a literal sense of insult in your chest. You think to yourself, $10? What's the point? If I win, I make 20? That doesn't even cover a nice lunch. That doesn't buy the dream. That's not the market survival life I signed up for. So, you don't risk $10. You ignore the calculator. You crank the leverage up until you're risking 200 or 500. You tell yourself you'll just do it one time to get the account to a respectable size, and then you'll start being disciplined. But here is the truth you've been hiding from yourself. Your account isn't too small. Your ego is just too big. By trying to trade like a whale with a minnow's bankroll, you aren't accelerating your growth. You are mathematically guaranteeing that you will be back at zero by the end of the week. Today, we are going to talk about the small account paradox, the mental trap that keeps 90% of retail traders broke, and why your disrespect for small numbers is the only thing standing between you and a professional career. Most traders are addicted to the big score. You're scrolling through Twitter or Discord, seeing screenshots of five-figure payouts, and you feel this desperate need to close that gap as fast as possible. But you're missing the most fundamental rule of this game. Trading is a game of percentages, not dollars. If you cannot manage a $1,000 account with discipline, you will never, ever be able to manage a $100,000 account. Why? Because the habits you build while you are small are the same habits that will govern you when you are big. Think of it like an athlete. If a basketball player refuses to practice their free throws because it's just 1 point, they will never be the person trusted to take the shot when the championship is on the line. When you risk 20% of your small account because the dollar amount doesn't matter, you are training your brain to be a gambler. You are literally hardwiring your nervous system to believe that rules are optional if the stakes feel low. But if you can't respect a $10 loss today, your heart will explode when that same percentage move represents a $10,000 loss later. The math is the same, but the emotional weight is different. If you haven't built the muscle now, you will snap under the pressure later. The professionals don't look at the dollar sign. They look at the R. They look at the execution. There is immense dignity in a $20 win if it was executed perfectly. Because that $20 win contains the exact same DNA as a $2,000 win. If you don't respect the seed, the universe will never give you the tree. Let's look at the cold, hard math of why overleveraging a small account is a suicide mission. When you have a small account, your drawdown tolerance is practically zero. You have no margin for error. If you have $1,000 and you lose $200 because you were swinging for the fences, you haven't just lost $200. You've lost 20% of your capital. To get back to that original $1,000, you now need a 25% gain just to break even. If you lose half your account, you now need a 100% gain, a literal market miracle, just to get back to zero. This is the small account paradox. Because your account is small, you feel like you need to take bigger risks to make it grow. But because your account is small, you're actually the person who can afford risk the least. The smaller the account, the more conservative you actually need to be to survive the learning curve. But retail psychology does the exact opposite. As the balance goes down, the leverage goes up. It's a death spiral driven by desperation. You are trying to bypass the boring phase of trading. You want to skip the part where you grind out small wins and learn how the market actually breathes. But the market has a way of finding people who try to skip steps. It will trip you, take your money, and send you back to the starting line every single time until you learn the lesson. Imagine a medical student who says, "I'm not going to bother learning how to do stitches properly on this small cut. It's too small. I'll wait until I'm doing heart surgery to actually try my best. You'd call that person a psychopath. You'd never let them near a patient. But that is exactly what you're doing when you say you'll start being disciplined once the account hits $10,000. Discipline isn't a switch you flip, it's a muscle you build. If you don't work it out when the weights are light, it will shatter the moment the weights get heavy. Your small account is actually a gift. It is a low-cost, low-risk environment to build the skills of a professional. This is where you learn how to handle a 3-trade losing streak without losing your mind. This is where you learn to sit on your hands for 3 days straight when there is no setup. If you can grow a $1,000 account to $1,100 using 1% risk over a month, you have done something 90% of traders will never achieve. You have proven that you have a repeatable edge. And once you have proof of an edge, the capital is the easy part. Prop firms are literally begging to give money to people who can prove they don't gamble. But until you have that discipline, more capital is just a bigger shovel to dig a deeper hole. Starting tomorrow, I want you to look at your small account differently. Stop looking at it as a way to pay your bills or buy a car. Look at it as a scorecard for your character. If you take a trade, risk the proper amount, and follow your plan perfectly, even if the trade hits your stop loss, that is a massive victory. That is a green day for your discipline, regardless of what the P&L says. The market doesn't reward those who want it the most. It rewards those who are the most prepared to wait for it. Respect the small numbers. Honor the boring days. Stop trying to prove you're a hero and start proving you're a professional. Because the traders who respect the $10 risk are the only ones who ever get the privilege of managing the $10,000 risk. You can keep spending your evenings jumping from one magic indicator to the next. You can keep joining every signal group on Telegram, hoping someone else will do the hard work for you. You can keep telling yourself that you'll finally start being disciplined once the account hits $10,000. But we both know that day is never coming unless you change how you operate right now. Hit that subscribe button right now and join the Market Survival community. We aren't here to post Lambos, lifestyle bait, or easy gains. We are here to do the hard, uncomfortable work of building a professional mindset. We are here to master the psychological game and build a foundation that actually lasts. Commit to the process. Honor the risk. And let's finally start trading like the professionals we were meant to be. Protect your capital. I'll see you in the next one.